Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about some of my favorites, and I'm also going to be talking about some products that I, maybe did first impressions or I hauled and I haven't really followed up on over the past month or so that I have some thoughts on. They didn't necessarily make it into my favorites. They're not necessarily fails, but I do have some thoughts on them, so we'll get to those at the end. But I wanted to kick off this favorites with something I mentioned actually in my What's in My Bag video, my Chanel sunglasses. Now, there's nothing extraordinary about the shape of these sunglasses. They have the big, kind of tacky Chanel writing on one side. It has the CCs on the other. I would have actually preferred if they just did the CCs on both sides, but whatever. But this frame, I believe it's called the Pilot sunglasses, and it comes in like different colors. I think there's like a faux tortoise, like a brown color. There's like a green. And then I think maybe there's a black frame with different lenses on the inside. So I got these kind of dark gray lenses because they're polarized. And I mentioned, polarized lenses in that What's in My Bag video. But because there's so much glare here in Vegas, the sun is so bright. It feels like a completely different sun living here versus living in New York City. It was really, really quite an adjustment, I remember, when I moved here. Anyway, I had a pair of sunglasses with polarized lenses many years ago. And I remember thinking that my vision was so clear when I wore them. And I don't know, it just wasn't that big of a deal for me. And I, since then had purchased many sunglasses, and I never got polarized lenses again. And in New York, it was no big deal. But when I got here, I just felt like, oh my God, I felt like I was wearing sunglasses and it actually made it worse. Like the sun wasn't bothering me, but I almost couldn't see. It was like the glare was almost making me kind of like blind, like just blocking out my vision. So I decided I needed to try a new pair of sunglasses, and I was checking out the Chanel site and I was looking at all the different options, and I saw that these were polarized lenses, and it kind of set something off in my mind. I was like, oh wait, I think that is what's going to help me with the glare. And I looked into polarized lenses, and yes, that's exactly why they were created, was to help with glare. So that was the main impetus behind buying new sunglasses and going with the polarized lenses. But then on the Chanel site, I noticed that they had I can't remember what it's called. Maybe it was like an alternate sizing. So I clicked on it, and their alternate sizing or their alternate style was that they had the option to get the frames, but with nose pads that are a little bit more raised, great for Asian faces or faces that have a little bit more of a flatter nose bridge, because whenever I get sunglasses, it's just something I've accepted. They just kind of sit on my face. It's annoying, and I end up getting metal frames with the nose pads because those, are raised up. But I happen to personally like plastic frames. I like the kind of bolder look. So these have just a little bit of a raise there. So they're just like a hair away from my cheekbones, and it's so great because usually I'll take sunglasses off and most people have like nose pad marks. I have sunglass marks on my cheekbones. I just get indentations right here, and I don't get them when I wear these sunglasses. So I absolutely love them. I'm thinking about getting them in the green color, and they have different shapes, but I don't think the green frames come with the polarized lenses, and I'm realizing that's a must. So anyway, I'm definitely on the lookout for this alternate kind of sizing or style for my flatter face. I'm so excited. So thank you, Chanel, for creating this alternate sizing. But if any of you out there know of brands that create frames for the flatter face, please let me know down below in the comment section. I am very interested in checking out different styles and everything. So let's move into my beauty makeup favorites. So if you guys are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. What I usually do is I will put on my favorites before I film, and I'll just do cutaways to that footage so that you can actually see the products in action. So that's what I'll be doing today. I have many of the products actually on my face. So I'm gonna start with the newest product. Is this the newest product? Yeah, this is the newest product. And that is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Concealer. I did a full day wear test for this concealer, and I really loved it. It is very radiant, and I have very dry skin. I have very dry under eyes. So a radiant moisturizing concealer is really important to me. And the description of this concealer really emphasizes this 24-hour moisture lock thing. And I never have makeup on for 24 hours, but I really liked the sound of something that was supposed to stay moisturizing for that long, for like an entire day. So I was pleasantly surprised that I found it to be very moisturizing. It is very radiant also. I don't know if this would be oily skin friendly, but it is definitely dry skin friendly. And if you like a little bit of radiance to the finish of your makeup, you'll definitely like this. When I did my full day wear test, I had powdered my face with the Kogan Do loose powder that I love, that I've talked about ad nauseum. And I didn't like my powdered side. I actually liked this concealer all by itself. But since that video, I've been wearing this and kind of testing it and playing around or whatever. And the next product I mentioned is actually a great powder match for this. And I do also have it on today as well. But I'm really enjoying this. I have it in the shade 4.5 and I purchased it off of the Armani site. And I think that's the only place it's available. And if that changes or whatever, I will leave, links down below my description box if you're interested. But I really love this. I talked about the Christian Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer last month, and I still love this and I still use this quite a bit. But I've been doing that like very minimal makeup thing. So I've been liking these kind of like multi-use, multi-purpose correctors where you can use them as concealer, of course, but you can also use them alone where you can kind of like just spot correct places. So I put it around my eyes, I just put it along my jawline, and if I have any spots, which I do, I have this weird eczema patch right up there, I'll just kind of cover that up. So I've been loving this very like minimal makeup look. I've been loving the minimal makeup routine because it saves so much time, and this has been such a great addition to this like minimal makeup arsenal. So that is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Concealer, and I really, really enjoy it. So the product I was just talking about that I thought was a very good pair for the Armani is the Chantecaille Hummingbird powder. What exactly is this called? It's the Perfect Blur Finishing Powder, and this powder is like a baked powder. And it is a lovely match for the Armani. I'm not exactly sure why the Kogan Do didn't really work. Maybe because it's a loose powder, maybe I just used a little bit too much of it. But because this powder is baked, I find that I can pick up just a very light layer, a very light amount of powder on my brush. And I've been using my Sonia G Face One brush, and I'll just shimmy it around in the pan, and I pick up, you guys, oh, there we go. I pick up just the smallest amount and I just kind of pounce it right on top of the concealer, any place I just want to, add a little bit of powder, and it's been great. So the experience, if you guys missed my Luminous Silk Concealer full day wear test, my experience with the Kogan Do was that I felt like it made my under eye look really dry, and it was just such a shame because the concealer it's all about moisture and radiance and luminosity. So I wanted a powder that could, take down the radiance a little bit if you wanted to, but I didn't want it to make that area look dry. And I've been using the Chantecaille now for the past like 2 or 3 days, and it looks great. It doesn't make my under eyes look dry or anything, and it's wonderful. And it's not just wonderful with this concealer. I do think this is a great match, but it's wonderful all on its own. It just has such a beautiful, like natural skin-like finish. It's like, it's matte, but it's not dry matte. It's not a flat matte. It's more like skin-like. It's more natural in its finish versus like matte. And it's just absolutely lovely, especially if you want to take down the shine just a little bit and kind of just, set and lock your makeup in. This has been wonderful. Unfortunately, this is limited edition. I think it's still available, but this is limited edition. It's part of their Hummingbird collection. It's just gorgeous. I mean, the packaging is gorgeous too. And then I've got a couple things here that I just thought I would mention because I've been using them all month, but absolutely nothing new from the previous month. I've been using my Tom Ford Glow Bronzer in Terra, and I've been using my Chanel blush in Jersey. So I'm just gonna move on because we've talked about those quite a bit as well. But we do have a blush that has kind of re-entered the scene. This is the M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow Magic Hour blush. So this is the first one that they came out with. They just came out with the Faded Clementine blush, which they sent to me and I still have to play around with. But what I've been doing is using blush as eyeshadow, and that's been helping me with this like minimal makeup look. It's been helping me like cut down time to, in terms of doing my makeup. I've been doing that with the Jersey blush. I've been doing that with the NARS Tempted blush, the new one. I talked about it in last month's favorites. And then I thought, I bet this blush would be perfect for that too. Great on the cheeks, great for like a little bit of eyeshadow. And it is. It's really, really beautiful. It just has such a beautiful sheen, and it has such a beautiful like light peachy color. It's beautiful on the cheeks. It's beautiful on the eyes. I absolutely love it. Today, however, I have the Chanel Jersey blush on, and I do actually have some eyeshadow on. So I have this on the cheek, and I have something else that I'll mention on my eyes. But this has been kind of in rotation this past month, and it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So there are two highlighters that I've really been enjoying this month. This is the Laura Mercier Affection Face Illuminator, and this came out for their spring summer collection and has this pretty like floral design embossing on there versus like their typical wave design. Well, I have actually both of the highlighters on my cheek, but I put this one down first. And it's really lovely. If you're a fan of the Laura Mercier Face Illuminators, this one is no different. The embossing looks different, but the formula is pretty much the same. But I feel like this color has been the best match for me out of all of the face illuminators that I have. And I have 3 other ones, and they're all like a little bit, like the tone is a little bit off. One is very golden, and then I think the other 2 are actually maybe just a little bit too deep. But this one has just been working really well for me, and it's just been sitting on my vanity. I've been using this almost every single day or every time I do my makeup. So that's the Laura Mercier Affection. And I did purchase this from Nordstrom. And then the other highlighter I've been loving is this one from MAC. This is part of their Loud and Clear collection. And this is in Postmodernist Peach, and it's their Extra Dimension Skin Finish. I don't have many MAC products, but the products that I do have from MAC, if they are meant to be glowy at all, they're really glowy and they're really beautiful. This one is a little bit more, I don't know, complex than the Laura Mercier. The Laura Mercier is a little bit more everyday in its color. I mean, it's very, very shiny, but it's just this really beautiful kind of like champagne gold, and it's just a beautiful kind of highlighter. This one has a little bit of like duochrome going on. There's like a little bit of like gold and peach in there, so it shifts a little bit. And it's even like just a step up brighter than the Laura Mercier. So I put the Laura Mercier down, and then I brushed just a little bit of this on top just to kind of get that peachiness. And it's really, really beautiful. So I'm very happy with this highlighter. Oh, I was just blending out the highlighter on my hand. Look how smooth that is. Isn't that so pretty? That's the MAC highlighter. And then just a couple more things. The eyeshadow palette I've been reaching for the most, and I've purchased a lot of eyeshadow palettes lately, mainly because of Valentine's Day and the whole pink and purple explosion that's happened, but I've been loving the Viseart Paris Edit palette out of all of them. I will say, the Melt Cosmetics Millennial Pinks, if I'm using the Viseart Paris Edit palette, I will sometimes, and I did that today, I will come in here and grab this Modern Love color, because I do feel like this is the one shade that's kind of missing from the Paris Edit palette. See these 2 colors over here? They're a little bit deeper than the one in the Melt Cosmetics palette, and then all of these are lighter. So the one in the Melt Cosmetics palette is kind of in between, and I really love it. It just works really well actually with this palette. So I've been using this palette in that one shade a lot. And yeah, out of all of the kind of like pinky, purpley palettes that I've gotten, the ones from Chanel, the Natasha Denona, I really enjoy those. Those are really beautiful, but for some reason I've been reaching for this one. I feel like this one is just, I don't know, it's like the tones that I really, really love. They're very everyday, they're very daytime, they're very pretty, they're very feminine. And I have this shade like all over my lid, and it is so beautiful, shiny and bright and foiled. It's just gorgeous. And then you can make just very kind of like simple everyday looks with like the lighter matte and the lighter metallics and shimmers. It's just a really gorgeous palette, and I love how small it is. I mean, it's so compact, and it just packs such a punch. So this has been kind of my go-to when I'm not doing the blush thing. This is the one that I've been reaching for, plus the Modern Love in this palette. And then the only new like lip product that I wanted to mention, because I've talked about, you know, the things that I've been using all month. I've talked about them a lot, like the Viseart lip shines, like the Décolleté lip oils. I'm still using those quite a bit. I just didn't want to be too repetitive, but I am still using those. I'm loving those. Oh, and okay, so I have 2 lip products, sorry. The Chantecaille Lip Chic and Honeysuckle. This is also part of their Hummingbird collection, and this has been living in my purse as well, and I just love this. It is like just my lips but better, and this formula is so, so comfortable. If you guys are familiar with Chantecaille lip products, you're just gonna love this. So that's the Lip Chic and Honeysuckle, again, part of their Hummingbird collection. And then the one product I feel like I've been using with a lot of other products, and it's been in my purse and I keep reaching for it over and over again, is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in Hot Chocolate. I love this gloss. I love her gloss bombs. I really do. I have her two other pink ones. I don't have the one that's kind of like white crystally. That one I don't have, but I have the two other like pink toned ones. Anyway, the Hot Chocolate is, well, it's what I have on my lips today, and I have it with the Sisley Beige Naturel lip liner. And I think what I love about this gloss bomb, aside from, you know, its formula, and I actually love the scent of it, even though it's very kind of synthetic, but I actually enjoy it, is that this color, whenever I put it on, I feel like it's kind of a chameleon. It can go warm, and I feel like it went a little warm today with this lip liner, or if I pair it with things that are like a little bit more pink and cool toned, it looks a little bit more cool toned. Like you'll see a little bit more of like the brown and the pink come out versus any of like the warmth in here. They got the color really, really right. And it's a gloss, so there really isn't even that much color really to talk about, but there's just enough, and it's beautiful and it's comfortable and it's moisturizing. You know, it's a wonderful, wonderful lip gloss, and I just love this color. Those are all the things I wanted to mention in terms of my favorites from this past month, but I do want to talk about some things that like I mentioned in the intro, that I've either done first impressions of, or maybe I hauled and I just haven't followed up with you on. And I do have some thoughts. A lot of things I have hauled or I have done first impressions and I really don't have like fully developed thoughts on yet, but these few items I do. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Glow Play blushes from MAC. These are the cream to powder type blushes from MAC. Now these feel incredible, really, really soft. And this one is so natural, and it's a very natural color. These blushes go on really beautifully. I have two other colors, and I just keep them in the box because one is like not labeled correctly, and I don't know the colors. Anyway, I have two other colors. This one is even more natural, and then this one is a little bit deeper. So I have used all three of these colors, and what I have noticed is that they don't stay on my cheeks. They're really beautiful going on. I really like the application. I really like the colors. They're really fun. Like I like this kind of like putty-like texture, but I've tried applying it with my fingers. I've tried applying it with a brush. I've tried applying it with a sponge, and they look great for about an hour. And then I look in the mirror and I'm like, did I forget to put blush on? They'll just look like they've completely faded. I don't know if I'm the only one. I actually haven't seen that many reviews on these. I don't know if I'm the only one experiencing that. I do feel like makeup, you know, behaves very, very differently on different skin. So I'd be interested if you guys have this blush, what your experience is with these, but I feel like my skin just like eats it up or drinks it up. I'm not sure what's going on, but they just kind of just fade away after about an hour. I did also want to talk about the Surratt Perfectionist Primer. So I did like a wear test for you guys with this. I kind of filmed like a full face of Surratt using this, and then I pinned a comment with like an update. And so I thought I would actually just verbally say it because I know a lot of people like miss the comments or whatever, which is totally fine. I just thought it would be helpful if I actually talked about it. So this primer is supposed to be oil absorbing. It's supposed to be smoothing, it's supposed to be pore minimizing, I believe, and it is supposed to help the longevity of your makeup. And it is something that I was going to pass on because I don't generally have like longevity issues. Obviously I don't have like oil absorbing issues because I do have severely dry skin, but this product was sent to me from Beautylish, so I wanted to give it a shot and give you Surratt lovers out there with dry skin, kind of give you my experience and my thoughts on it. So there were plenty of pros with this primer. I did feel like my makeup went on like really smoothly. I felt like the foundation, the Surratt Dewdrop foundation that I used on top of this, I felt like I needed less product than the side without the primer. And I felt like my makeup on top of that even looked a little bit more airbrushed. It did look really, really nice. So I did like what this primer did for like the majority of my face. The only part I did not like this primer for was actually around my nose, which is the oiliest part of my face. So I was a little surprised at that because this is supposed to be oil absorbing. It looked like it was kind of like breaking up. It looked like maybe it absorbed oil, but then kind of like cracked a little little bit. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it almost looked like I had like little dry patches around my nostrils. This was the side that I used the primer on. And it had like little, like, I don't know, like almost like I could see the primer like kind of like dried up. And it was, yeah, it just looked really bad, like right around my nostril. Like I had to like wipe it away. So that was unfortunate, but it did look great, like right on my cheeks. And it made like all my cheek products look really airbrushed. Like there was no need to go in with like finishing powder and like buff out even more. It was really wonderful for that. And what's interesting is this is definitely the driest part of my face, and it didn't dry out my skin. It didn't feel dry. It didn't do anything like that. But this does go on, like it kind of feels like a layer of very fine powder when you put it on, but it doesn't feel drying. It's actually a very interesting primer. So that was my experience with the Surratt primer. I'll probably try it a few more times just to see what goes on with my nose. Like maybe I'll try it with a different foundation, but I did want to just kind of like verbally explain what happened with the primer. And then last but not least is the Sicily Phyto Hydra Tint. And I have it in the shade 1, and this was another product that Beautylish sent to me. So I like this tinted moisturizer. I like it, but I don't love it. And there are two main reasons why I don't like it. One, I do feel like you could see a little bit of a white cast. Titanium dioxide is like one of the main ingredients in here, but this isn't labeled with any SPF, but it is in the ingredients. So I did feel like I could see a little bit of a white cast on my skin. It did disappear, but it was definitely there when I first applied it. The second thing is I did start to notice, and a few of you commented, but it's hard to see with studio lighting, and it's hard to see like when I'm outside, when I'm kind of doing like outdoor lighting checks and stuff. It did seem to oxidize a little bit, but it didn't oxidize immediately, which is usually what I feel like foundation does. It'll oxidize immediately and then it'll just kind of like stop. This I feel like kind of developed over the entire day, that by the end of the day, I feel like I could see like a little bit of a line, like where the foundation was and wasn't. And I know when I put it on, I didn't feel like I needed to blend it like all the way down or whatever, but it became more prominent at night. So that is definitely unfortunate for this product because I did like the finish of it. I liked like the level of coverage it had. It's a tinted moisturizer, so it is very, very light. I liked the texture of it. Like it's like very lotiony, you know, it's like one of those like really easy products. Like you could just kind of like slap onto your face. So that's what I was really hoping it was going to be, but because of the color shift, because of that little like white cast, I don't know, it just wasn't what I expected from Sicily. Sicily has the most perfect bases to me. I love their tinted sunscreen cream. I love their anti-aging foundation. I love their cushion. I mean, you know, you guys know, I go on and on about these things. So being that this is Sicily, I definitely had my hopes up. My expectations were very, very high, and this product definitely didn't meet it. It's like I said, it's good, but it's just not fantastic. Oh, I have one more product to talk about. I kind of forgot about this, but this was sitting out here. This is the Lila B Aglow Priming Oil. So I've tried this a couple of times. It has lavender oil in there, which I'm just not a fan of. I just don't like the smell of lavender. It just kind of, I don't know, kind of gives me a headache. I don't like it. I don't like it. I do also know that people have sensitivity to it, like actual skin sensitivity to it. I don't think I do, but I have heard that, you know, it can be skin sensitizing. So there is lavender oil in here, which is definitely like a check in the con column. But what I noticed about this oil, and I had to try it a few more times because I was like, am I going crazy? It's an oil. And when I put it on, I mean, it was like, oh, like no mistaking. It was very oily, and anything I put on top of it, you know, the radiance kind of like shined through, and it was okay. Again, I have dry skin. I was fine with it, good to go. But it was when I used this primer that I felt like by the end of the day, my skin was kind of dry. It was almost like the oil completely went away, and then my skin was just kind of like needing something else. And no matter what foundation I used on top of this, a radiant one, a moisturizing one, it just looked more dry than it would have without this primer. And I used foundations that I know are radiant and they stay moisturizing and they're just really, really lovely, etc. So I did find this a little bit disappointing. I don't think the oil part of it, the radiance and the moisturizing aspect of it, is very long. Like I said, I just felt like my skin was really dry at the end of the day after wearing this. Alrighty, I think that is it. Those are all the products I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so, so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Let me know some of your thoughts on some new products down below in the comment section. Let me know if there's anything I need to run out and buy. I love hearing from you guys. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.